Hi, welcome back to Fried Chicken Chronicles. Today I am talking about, well, first and foremost, welcome back to Fried Chicken Chronicles. Please hit the like and subscribe button, or select the like and subscribe button and share with your family and friends. Not very enthusiastic, as you can hear. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and talk about my topic I've been talking about for the last day or so, which is Phat, cat, black bureaucrat. Elon Musk is coming from you with the Department of Doge, or Phat, cat, slack bureaucrat. Elon Musk is coming for you. So in the same vein as my topics from earlier on, I'm going to continue on. I want to talk about the federal agency, and it is the bedrock and the economic engine for the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. It is the primary source of income. It is the driving economic engine that propels this area and the nation at large. I'm going to get that out there and say it's also the economic engine that makes the District of Columbia and America the most powerful, the District of Columbia, the most powerful, toughest political city in the world, and America the most powerful nation at this time. So just to kind of give you a little heads up, the the Department of Defense basically fuels the economy of this DMV area, but it also has many contracting companies, big names like Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics, Psych, Leidos, and all of those companies that feed off the Department of Defense in their contracts. So there's a lot of money in the commercial corridors of this region, making it a very powerful force to reckon with. Probably more GDP than some nations, just generated from the companies in the commercial corridors that are lined up for contracts with the Department of Defense, excuse me. And there's many federal agencies. There's 2.4 million federal agencies. And the federal agencies range from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, that's Kansas, had a big stake in that department. But the Department of Defense, the Department of Treasury, the IRS is under that banner. The Department of Justice, the Department of Energy, the Department of Commerce, to name a few. And then there's other agencies as well. So, just wanted to give a backdrop. So anyway, this new legislation from the executive order signed by President Trump, he's setting up a Doge or whatever, Department of Operations, I don't know, government something. I don't know what the acronym stands for. I'm sorry. But anyway, I'm like, what happened to the Government Accountability Office? Are you going to do away with that? I mean, what's the purpose of that? That's what they're supposed to be doing. But anyway, there's a lot of talk. That's why I made the video title, Woe to You, Phat. And I'm making pancakes. Pearl Mining Company. Woe to you, Phat, cat, black bureaucrat. Woe to you, Phat, cat, slack bureaucrat. I don't think I'm going to say woe to you, Phat, cat, white bureaucrat. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Okay, here's the pancake batter. What I've discovered in life, as a white man and a white woman's always left standing. They're always left standing. It's the minorities, it's the people of color, it's the people that are not valued and highly revered in society that are always given the axe. And I say this because Boeing was, when I was a youngster, Boeing was a big company that was set up in Wichita. They have headquarters in Seattle, but they were also had a big big presence in Wichita. They own like blocks and blocks, a little bit of milk in Wichita, Boeing. And so they basically were forced to hire minorities. They had an equal opportunity and employment, equal opportunity commission, EEOC, and they hired a black lawyer. And I happen to know, I heard about her from my family. I was a little bitty girl, and I remember seeing their family. They lived next door to us, but I won't go into detail about what happened with her or what transpired in relation to her. But anyway, she was a big monkey muck, and they hired her, and she was basically representing the company. She was there to represent the interests of the company. So if you had an issue, and your union leader or union steward didn't address it, then you were just stuck. You stuck like Chuck. I put a little honey in the pancake batter. You were stuck like Chuck. And so she was basically a company operative. She was not going to do work on your behalf at all. So anyway, all these jobs were opened up to minorities, and they worked, and still can't really grapple with racism. People don't want you in that job. And they're coming from Arkansas, Louisiana, Missouri, the Ozark regions, and so forth. They don't want you in that job, but they're going to make your life a living hell. And that's what they did. So the EEOC officer or commissioner, ceremonial position, and they did hire minorities, but it was still very difficult for many blacks who were working alongside their white counterparts in the office and in the plant. But in any event, I want to explain to you what's going on a little bit. So the anti-dei stance, diversity, equity, and inclusion, which basically has been hijacked from the 1964 and 1965 Voting Rights Act, or the 1964 Civil Rights Act, and the laws that were basically put in place with teeth. And those laws were the EEOC laws, Equal Employment Opportunity Act, and so forth. That was the teeth of the 1964 laws that Lyndon Baines Johnson signed into existence. But Nixon probably was the one who executed those laws and put teeth behind it. And from that, the government asked for accountability for anybody that wanted to secure federal government contracts, Department of Defense contracts, you name it. They had to show me the numbers to make sure they were hiring minorities, and the women are considered minorities. So white women are minorities. So that basically opened the door for them to have a large presence in the workforce and to be able to ascend to the top, especially when the white male is at the high level executive position within the corporate structure. He's the chief dog, the chief executive officer. He's the chief dog. And then he looks to promote a minority within the ranks, and he's going to choose a white female. And of course, if she's attractive and all of those things, hey, her ascension is even more secured. And the rest is history. You figure that one out. But in any event, they're going to do what they want to do, as they always have done. And that's the nature of the game. So, in relation to this law, you got, in 2022, there were statistics that were brought to fore about what the federal agency was comprised of. Who makes up the numbers within the federal agency? 6% white, 55% male. Overall, 60% white males and 75% are white overall, the white male and female. And there's 60% male at the executive level. That sounds kind of weird. 60% white male and 55% male, and then 60% male at the executive level. That means program directors and things of that nature. And so Trump is going to basically shift the way things are done. He's a new sheriff in town, or the sheriff has come back in town, or whatever you want to call it. And he's going to shift the way things are done. But this warning is to black people. That DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion laws, those were basically laws to incorporate a lot of LGBTQ, gay, queer, and all of that into the federal agency departments and the federal agency overall. And so if you had a percentage, a lot of those being white males, well, a lot of them have ascended to executive level positions. And so they're not going anywhere. They basically used or hijacked civil rights laws that black people have died, dogs bitten, their blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, even being on American soil, just being black was life-threatening. I mean, seriously, how they murdered blacks in the South, how even with the North, they just kill blacks with complete immunity. I mean, New York is an example. New York is about as Yankee town as they get. New York Yankees. And they just killed a black man in custody. It was 13 officers that beat that man and basically severed or broke his first, second, and third degree vertebrae on a hospital gurney or a gurney, a medical gurney bed. So we've always been discriminated against, hunted down, mistreated, maltreated, ill-regarded, hated, despised, murdered in cold blood. So what I'm saying is they want you to be in upheaval and upset. They're going to take these DEI people and they'll be out of a position. They were forced to leave office yesterday, I believe Wednesday at 5 p.m. They are going to be given pay until the end of the month or something like that, and then they're cut off. And I don't know how that's going to work with the unions that protect their jobs. I don't know how it's all going to play out, but in any event, I just want black people to always be aware that when they make these policies, it's always you in mind. Even though the DEI really benefited the LGBTQ, gay, and lesbian, queer community, that law really benefited them. If you've gone to D.C., not necessarily a federal agency, this is a bananas, not necessarily a federal agency, but the district government agencies, they got bathrooms, male and female. Then they got a unisex bathroom. What is that? I mean, what? So I got a penis and breast. I don't understand that machination. I really don't. And they had those bathrooms. They spent all them millions of dollars to put bathrooms, male, unisex, female. And so you can just choose which bathroom you were to use. Of course, I chose the bathroom that my gender is affiliated with, because God made me a female, and that's what I am. But all that, in any event, what I'm going to say real quick in a nutshell is black people, if you can, if you get let go, you can take your money and invest in a small business, even get a business that you can secure federal government contracts or local government contracts. You're still going to be better off than if you were to retire as a federal bureaucrat, because you'll have millions at your discretion as opposed to just a few $1,000s. You retire $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 over the span of 10 years, you know. Look at but if you're awarded a contract or several contracts from the federal agency worth millions, look at your worth. Look at how much you'll be able to have as intergenerational equity and wealth to pass down to your posterity. So that's my advice. But honestly, the white people are going to be ill affected because they're going to be at the top of the food chain. That's what Boeing did. Boeing was labeling all the minorities in that company. They were being labeled. And so when the layoffs occurred, they were the first ones out the door. And they had no idea what was going on. They just assigned them a label. The government is very tricky, and I can't think of the word, but they know how to do things by crafty and deceptive practices. And so the black people were laid off at a disproportionate rate, and the white folks kept their jobs. And that's how they do. They always have plans on how to implement what they want to implement. Goodbye now. I'm going to do another series today on it because I'm not done wrapping it up. And stay tuned for the next series on this. Have a great day. Goodbye.